What up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Great Saturday for college football as we just witnessed the Alabama Crimson Tide secure a trip down to Atlanta. Today they became the SEC West champions, and now they wait on Georgia or Tennessee. Georgia playing tonight against Ole Miss. If they win, Georgia clinches the SEC East championship, and that matchup will be set down in Atlanta. If they lose to Ole Miss, then they'll have to win at Tennessee on next week. So we'll be watching all that closely this afternoon. But the Tide going on the road down to Lexington, Kentucky, getting a victory over the Wildcats. I mean, this game was pretty much over really early in the first quarter. The Tide racked up 21 points. And what do you know? Here comes that man again. Jalen Milroe, another phenomenal game, 6 total touchdowns on the afternoon. Didn't even take a snap, I don't believe, in the fourth quarter. So a beautiful game by Milroe, a beautiful game by the defense. They gave up some plays but created some turnovers. So we're here for the next little while to go through this game, break it down for you, talk about what is in store next for the Crimson Tide. They got somewhat of a bye week with Tennessee Chattanooga coming in here. Some people dinged up, some opportunity for them to get healthy, an opportunity for them to get ready for the Iron Bowl, which will happen in 2 weeks. But nonetheless, the Tide got things done and winning the ball game 49-21. So congratulations to Alabama and a good win. We thought maybe a little hangover after the victory over LSU, maybe a trap game, maybe upset alert. All those things were tossed around during the week, but no need to worry. They handled their business. They jumped on them early. They kept their foot on the gas with a big win. And this is a statement win because we talked about on the Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9 that they need to have a statement win on a good, against a good football team. Well, they did just that. 49-21. And Christian, I was pretty close again on my prediction. My prediction was 45-21. So had they not scored that last touchdown and kicked the field goal, I would have been spot on calling the final score in that game. But nonetheless, a great game. Defense was good. Offense spectacular. He spread the ball around. Milroe again, 6 touchdowns on the ground and through the air. Phenomenal performance for him. He got dinged up in the first quarter. Looked like he got a thigh bruise. I'm thinking that's what it was, but he was able to come back into the game and finish it and not have even to play in the fourth quarter where Ty Simpson got some good reps to finish out the game. But big time win, man. And the Tide, again, will be in Atlanta to win the SEC.
They will. They got the job done. They won the West. And look, I mean, I wish I could say I'm impressed, but I am impressed. I wish I could say I was surprised. Excuse me, but I'm not. They've been playing their best ball as of late, and as long as they stuck to Alabama and focused on themselves, I knew that this is the type of game that we'd see, and I'm glad that they were able to do that. They kept the main thing. They looked focused. They looked poised. And they meant business from the start of the game, right? and really, if it wasn't for that, and I'm not putting it all on this one play, but they were up 21-0 and about to get the ball back and probably going to march down and score again, go up 28-0 like the first quarter. Then we had the muffed punt that led to a score for Kentucky. But besides that, I mean, this just really was a dominant performance. Starting with up front, offensively, the offensive line played great. I don't know if you really paid attention to the pocket. I mean, the pocket was really clean all day. I thought they did a really nice job protecting Milroe. He made some really nice throws. We were able to run the football in this game. I mean, the receivers stepped up. You had, guys banged up out of the game. Burton didn't play with an illness, right? Ja'Cory Brooks was out of the game. But Jalen Milroe, man, I mean, he was just exceptional. And then really in the first quarter, or majority of the first quarter, I think he was like 7 of 7 for 2 or 3 touchdowns already. Finished the day 15-22 for 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, average of 10.6 per pass. I mean, he's just been playing lights out, some really good football. And, one thing that I really noticed is, it's funny. I got to give you a prop. So I said these things too, but, you definitely had said these things. You were harping on, tailor things to Jalen Milroe. Yes, I said it too, but a lot of people said that. But there's a little tidbit if you listen to the TV copy. They literally said, Tommy Rees, the offense that they're running now is completely different than the offense they were running 3 weeks ago. Right? They said they really tailored it specifically to him and his strengths and what he feels most comfortable doing. And I mean, we had been saying it, especially you, from week 1, week 2, right? And it's funny how they're doing that, and look at the results that they're getting, right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of other things involved, and there's other things in the equation, but it's just amazing that we talked about the quarterback design runs, putting them on the perimeter, right? They've got to respect that. Within the little things they throw in there, they fake a little sweep, they're hitting guys right down the seam, right? They're getting a little more creative, right? They had a lot of success with the flood routes, guys. Just getting separation and the pockets cleaner, and just there's so much more balance. They're able to throw the football. They're able to run the football, right? Really just hitting our stride at a really good time. And we talk about all the time, you want to play your best ball around this time, right? End of October, November. Like, this is really when it matters. And that's what they're doing defensively. A dominant performance, right? A Kentucky team that only gave up 13 sacks, second fewest in the SEC. Our defensive front was harassing Leary. Devin Leary the whole time was uncomfortable. They're putting their paws on the guy. He didn't look like he wanted to be back there, right? Ray Davis, who we spoke really highly of, he's the second leading rusher in the SEC, but coming into the game at 903 yards on the ground, right? Held him to 26 yards today, average of 2.2, right? Really the only so we held them to 95 rushing yards, and really was that long run at the end, right? Raymond Jefferson broke that long run at the end. Really, that was like 60. You're on mute. That was like 60 yards itself, I feel like, right? I don't remember exactly.
That was about 60, 70 yards. So that was when he got a 25. So that was one run. I mean, and also that was against the backups.
Yeah, for sure. But, so you take that away, but it happened. So you got to count that. But say it didn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. You're looking at probably holding these guys to about 35 yards on the ground. Devin Leary, 17 of 31, only 158 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I mean, so just some really good football being played. Kobe Prentice led us in receiving yards, had 4 receptions for 74 yards, averaged 18.5, 1 touchdown. I mean, it just a really nice performance. But when you talk about the defense, man, I mean, you can't not talk about Terrion Arnold, right? I mean, we've been talking about this guy, how we really like him. He's really come along. I said a few weeks ago, he's easily the most improved player on this defense, if not this football team. And he has just been playing better and better. He plays the ball better in the air. I know last year's times, I thought he could play the ball a little bit better. We always knew he was a really good athlete, but seeing him right now, man, I mean, he just looks so confident out there. He's smiling on the field when they keep showing him, because he's feeling himself, as he should, right? I mean, he was huge today. I mean, I feel like I heard his name every single snap, if not at least every series, but it's like every single snap, right? I mean, interceptions, fumbles he's involved in. He almost followed one up with a sack coming off a blitz. Like, I mean, this dude has been playing some really good football, and just a really nice effort. Defense was banged up. Tresman Marshall filling in, him and Jahad Campbell filling in for the injured Deontay Lawson. Those guys both did a nice job. Jalen Key out of the game, secondary did well. So overall, man, it's a really good win. I think it was, in my opinion, probably the most complete game this season. I know we said that about LSU for the most part last week, but this game I think even tops that. Obviously, LSU is probably a much better football team than Kentucky, but you talk about starting the game hot, being balanced offensively, forcing turnovers. Really, we only had 1 turnover. I guess you had the muff punt on special teams, but that makes 2. But you look like I think this was a very solid showing. We talked about how important it is to have convincing wins. This definitely was a convincing win, going on the road in an SEC environment, taking care of business, dominant performance. That's exactly what this team needs now, right? They'll go into next week, face Chattanooga. We know how that goes, right? It's probably going to be another opportunity to get guys in the game, rest some guys up. We definitely have a banged up roster right now on both offense and defense. So it's going to be vital that we get those guys healthy going into that Auburn game to close out the regular season, then prepare for the SEC championship game, because we are a lock to play in that game after, conquering the West today with the win over Kentucky. But I just want to say this, man. where are all these same people, right? And I hate being the receipt guy. I know this typically you, but I'm sorry, but I got to say this, right? Where are all the people that were calling our show? Again, we do the Miller's Edge every day, Monday through Friday on Tide 100.9, 11 to 12 Central Time. If you want to tune in, you should tune in. I'm telling you, you guys always want us to come on here, but remember, you can catch us every day right there in that hour. But where are all the people that were calling our show after Texas saying, "Hey, I told y'all so. Y'all were talking about Jalen Milroe. Told you he couldn't win with it. He's going to lose you 3 or 4 games." Right? Where are those people at? Where are those same people saying the Alabama's they fell off the face of the earth? They're not a good football team anymore. They don't have a quarterback. I mean, the same guy that they were dissing and talking about is the same guy that just became the first player in Alabama history to what was it? Scored 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns, total 6 touchdowns. Right?
Yep.
I mean, he just set so that's 2 weeks in a row he set records. Last week's 4 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback set a record. Now he's just set another record, first player with that achievement, right? The three passes and 3 touchdowns. I mean, this guy, we tried to tell you guys before the season even started, this dude is a baller. He just needs to be put in the right position. You've got to coach him correctly. You got to get him comfortable. You got to put him in position to succeed, and he's going to give you a chance. Is he the same type of quarterback as Bryce Young or Tua Tagovailoa? No, he's not, and that's okay. He's a different kind. But if you ask me, I mean, I'm almost willing to say, I mean, I almost would rather take a guy like this because now that they're utilizing his athletic ability to work the perimeter and the more he's growing as a passer, this guy is a lot more dynamic than a lot of quarterbacks, right? And I think people are starting to see that. This guy went from people not believing in him, people doubting him, being benched, to now with only a couple games left in the regular season, now people are saying, "Oh, damn, maybe we should throw him in the Heisman conversation." I mean, the last few weeks he's been playing like that. Now I know it's a little late.
He's definitely been the Heisman guy.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you talk about most valuable player. I mean, right now he's definitely, I mean, doing some remarkable things. I mean, I'm happy for him. Right now, obviously, we still got. I don't want to sound like we're just like celebrating as if everything's all finished now. We still got a lot of work to do. Right, we still want to finish out this regular season. We still want to go achieve everything in Atlanta in the SEC championship game. We still want to make the playoffs and go, contend for national championship. But right now, man, these guys are playing some really good football. I always talk about the trajectory is still on the right track, man, and largely in part due to the mindset of these players, the coaching, right? A guy that we've, more so you, but you've been a little critical of Tommy Rees as everybody else has. Right. The last few weeks, man, I've been very impressed with his play calling. It's almost as if, he's been growing and developing right alongside Jalen Milroe. And that's what you want. And so the way these guys are playing football and the path that they're on, I feel really good about it. Right. I feel really good about it. You go into this Chattanooga game, rest some guys up, get some guys some more experience like we saw today. Ty Simpson, I thought, looked well when he came in, throwing the football, did a nice job. Right. I got to see some younger guys. They got some valuable experience. Not hopefully, we will see that again next week against Chattanooga. Finish out the regular season strong against our rival, the people we don't even like to talk about in Auburn, right? And then we head on to Atlanta. So I'm really pleased with what I saw today. I'm curious what everybody else thinks. Let me know what you guys thought of this big time win. Again, Alabama going on the road, beating Kentucky in a dominant performance, 49-21. Really, really nice performance by the Crimson Tide. Want to get your guys' thoughts on this game, but overall, man, again, you got to be pleased with it, man. A great effort on all fronts.
Wonderful game. I mean, just complete from start to finish. The only little hiccup was the interception of Jalen trying to make a pull, drop 8. That was a 3-man rush, so they went straight zone, and he just was trying to move around and hold it, and hopefully he was hoping that receiver would come back to him, but the receiver stopped. And therefore the defender stepped in front of it, which caused interception. But other than that, a very, very clean game for Jalen Milroe. The offensive line protected extremely nice. They ran the ball. I think it was for 100 and I think 70 yards or so.
159.
159 rushing. 234 yards passing for Milroe. 10.6 yards average. He spread it around a lot of different receivers. So a really nice game defensively. Again, Ben Moore, you mentioned Terrion Arnold. I thought he's been just playing great football. Kool-Aid Mason, really nice plays as well. So he was good. He had the muff punt, but that really wasn't his fault. And even Nick Saban talked about that in his press conference because the gunner didn't do his job. Kind of got in the way, distracted him just a bit, so he muffed it. So those were the two negative plays. Everything else was clean across the board. But here's the thing. I heard the announcers make that whole comment about Tommy Rees. It's just what I've been saying, right? From day one. I preached the gospel of smart coaches sees the talent that they have, and you build around that talent. Milroe's not going to be he's not going to be the guy that run the offense that you want to run. He's going to be the guy that's going to give you the best chance to win. And he had his legs. He can throw. He can make every throw, but he does it differently. And so kudos to Tommy Rees for adjusting and adapting to Milroe's strengths. And then you call plays based on the strengths, not just him, but based on how he's changed, has given other playmakers. I mean, Kobe Prentice outstanding today. They're getting lost, kind of that Debo Samuel type of player. He's getting involved with the motions and moving around in the backfield, the swing passes. They didn't have Burton today because he was out sick, but number 11, the transfer, junior college guy, he got Benson. He got
Malik
involved
Benson
today. Knobloch, the touchdown pass was nice. I mean, Dupree was involved. So Alabama has dudes everywhere. They got a lot of freaking playmakers on this football team. And so if you're Tommy Rees, you're going, man, I got all this to my disposal. I got all these kind of dudes. Let's go. And then you got 4 running backs. I mean, I still think Haynes should be playing. Is it Haynes or Haynes? Justice Haynes. He should be playing a lot. He should be playing a lot more. And I say that because he gets downhill quicker than those other backs. Right? I mean, Jay, incredible, power strong, but not crazy fast. Rolls Royce, I like to call him. Outstanding runner of the football between the tackles. They both block well when they blitz. Chase had a couple good pickups in pressure situations. They can catch the ball out the backfield. Jam Miller, also a phenomenal back. And then you got Justice Haynes, who I think he gets down quicker because he don't dance. I mean, he just boom, boom, he hits it pretty quick. The other guys kind of methodically move around, before they get going. So they got a lot of dudes, right? And so Alabama is that team, in my opinion, right now, that nobody wants to see because they are starting to hit their stride. Very solid defense. Offense is starting to be able to become very balanced, running and passing. We've seen that the last 3 weeks. So I'm excited what that ceiling is, right? And I still think this team they probably could have scored 60 today. I mean, they just had a couple of mistakes there. They got dudes in special teams that can make plays. I like Law as a returner. Kool-Aid muffed the ball, but he had a nice return too as well. I mean, so there's a lot of awesome things happening for Alabama that I'm excited about. You got, a team next week, hopefully go and build a quick lead, get Jalen out of the game, play Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner some maybe the second half or the entire second half. So hopefully they don't mess around, but build the lead and get those guys out the game because you don't want them to risk injury, right? So you want to be in that Iron Bowl healthy, finish that, and then get to Georgia that following week, or Tennessee or whoever it's going to be. So I think they're hitting their stride. We knew that this team had great potential. As Coach Saban said, he didn't really have high expectations. In his press conference, he said that for this football team, but it's been fun coaching this team. It's been fun watching them grow and build, and he's excited about where they can go. And they learn. They're accepting the coaching, all of that good stuff. So I'm pumped up to see what Alabama could get done. Big time win on the road. Things are going to be happening in front of them. Penn State just lost today, so Michigan won despite Jim Harbaugh not being able to be on the sidelines. You got Tennessee, Missouri playing now. Georgia tonight. We'll see. I kind of like Lane Kiffin maybe pulling the upset tonight in that ball game down between the hedges. And, Ohio State, Michigan going to have to play Washington, and Oregon probably going to have to play again for the Pac-12. Oklahoma's kind of out of a situation right now. We'll see what Texas is going to do. So a lot of things going to happen here in the next 2 weeks. I don't think Alabama needs to panic at all. I still believe they control everything. Now is set up for them to make the college football playoffs, and I don't think they have to worry about anybody else. I think they're in great shape. They just got to continue to win, and they're in. That's the bottom line because Ohio State, Michigan got to play. And they're going to be sitting right there. So Washington and Oregon going to have to play. So things going to happen for them. It doesn't matter really what Texas does. I still think Alabama is going to. They're not going to leave out a one-loss SEC champion. It ain't going to happen. You can almost bet that. So I'd love to hear what people think. Not a lot to really say about this game, especially like normally break down stuff. Any negatives, everything is positive except for the one interception where he just trying to make a play. She just threw the ball away and lived for another down. I mean, that's just that simple. It's not like it was a bad pass, but like he was just trying to make a play. And but that's something you learn from. Like, hey, they're dropping 8, throw the ball away, or just take off and run and get 2 yards. You know, whatever it is. So other than that, man, there ain't much I got really with this team. I mean, that's I kind of hate it because we know we can get into some big stuff, and you can't tell me Milroe got to do this. Milroe has shown you what he is. I mean, he is that dude. He is that guy that can make a ton of plays for you. So we don't even have that to discuss anymore. They don't have wide receivers, really. They got plenty of them. So,
Yeah.
There's nothing really there. I love to just hear what the people are saying based on what they saw this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it to them because, like you said, I mean, we've said about all you can really say after this performance, right? I mean, it's just a really spectacular performance, and man, as long as they keep playing the way they're playing, they're putting themselves in position to at least contend. Obviously, they're definitely contending for the SEC championship, but definitely a national championship if they can take care of business against Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, we've got Adam in the chat with the super chat, $50 super chat. Man, Adam. Man, you are incredible, dude. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. Adam with the $50 super chat. He says, Christian, if you were playing against us, how would you game plan to stop Milroe and score consistently against our defense? What do you think UGA will do? That's a good question. Hopefully there's no UGA fans in here or coaches try to listen in on my answer and try to get some intel, right? I'm just playing. But Adam, that's a good question. In my opinion, when I watch Jalen Milroe, I think what kind of in the offense, not just him, but in this offense, what causes them issues is when people can consistently bring pressure and be effective doing that. It forces the issue. Milroe tends to kind of, I don't want to say panic, right? But you know what I mean? He kind of gets real flustered. He starts moving around, and that's when mistakes start to happen typically. So defensively, I would try to force the issue and bring pressure. We saw the difference that made against LSU's quarterback, Jaden Daniels. I know these are two different guys, but you're talking about a dual threat guy. Sometimes when you're not aggressive enough and your defensive line is getting on different levels in their rush lanes, creating windows, these athletic quarterbacks can take off. So in passing situations, I definitely would want to force issue. Now, I will say the other side of that is the interceptions that Jalen Milroe has thrown has typically been against these zone defenses, right? Sometimes, I'll be honest, I think he's a lot better fit when he's going against man coverage because it's a lot easier for him. There's less things to diagnose. He just can basically scan and see who's open, right? Zones require a little bit more processing and reading, and sometimes that can mess with him a little bit. We saw him throw that interception today. He should have just threw it away or got rid of it, got what he could get instead of trying to force it. So you got to kind of pick your poison with that. But in my opinion, I would go be aggressive, force the issue, right? Really go at the left tackle, even though he's playing extremely good football right now, much better. He's been much improved, Caden Proctor, that is. But I still, still going to go after the young guy, in my opinion. So that's what I would do defensively to stop Milroe in this offense. Obviously, you got to stop the run, though, because once we get our running game going, there's not really much you can do at all. And then you got to respect Jalen Milroe's athleticism, right? So sometimes you can put a spy out there in passing situations, but now that we're implementing these quarterback design runs, God, I hate giving all this intel, but this is my thoughts, right? But seeing all these quarterback design runs, you've got to be very disciplined in terms of who's the quarterback player, how you're going to play those quarterback runs. And so that's how I would go about it offensively. Now, the other part to it, Adam, was you said, how would you score consistently on our defense. Scoring on our defense is hard, right? Let's just face it. We do a really good job stopping the run. I had to pull up our numbers now that some games have been played today. But we're one of the best rushing defenses. For a fact, our pass rush has really improved since week 1, week 2. I mean, we've got arguably, one of the best pass rush teams in the country right now. And that's largely in part due to the interior guys are man, I mean, just look at Tim Keenan just always being so active, always getting penetration. Justin Aboigbe, you got Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell, 2 phenomenal edge guys with the best tandem in the country. So with that being said, it's going to be hard to run the ball against our defense, but I think some of our vulnerabilities are sometimes in the back end with some miscommunications. I would do my best to try to, get guys on different levels, try to get guys miscommunicating, right? I use pre-snap movement. I do things in the route concept to really try to stress those secondary guys, right? Because that's how you saw LSU that first touchdown, right? What happened was Jalen Key came up biting on something and he got beat deep, right? So I would attack those spots if it was our defense. Again, it feels so weird picking apart our team and giving this. But you asked it, Adam, and you generously donated, so I got to give you what you want. But honestly, that's what I would do. Then the only other thing was running into the teeth of our defense is not really even possible. I would work the perimeter. We've seen some teams have success working the perimeter against our defense. Makes us really have to run and react to that. Plus, it opens up other things if that is successful. That's enough, Adam. I can't give too much more intel. You want to add?
Everybody knows what team's going to do now that he's such a factor with his legs. I mean, in obvious passing situations, they're going to spy him because he's so fast. I mean, the guy, he don't need but a crease and he's gone to the house. And he showed today even that he has some wiggle, but he can make people miss as well. So he's elusive in that department. So, listen, I think, when you talk about the team now, you got to add another person, the safety down in the box, right? And because now you got to account for him being able to run the football as well. So I think teams like Georgia, that's what they're going to do. I mean, they've seen guys, they're going to, do it to that type of guys. Kirby, just like Nick Saban, one of the best at devising schemes and things like that, Adam, to try to take away the things that Jalen Milroe does best. But listen, that's where Tommy Rees again has to become creative and help him in those areas when a defense tries to take away some of the things that he does well with the skill set. So without getting too deep in it, there are things that you can do, but then you play the chess match as coordinators to hopefully get him open and get him going by doing different things. And listen, Georgia is good defense. They're not great like they were. They're not nowhere near the type of defense that they were the last 2 years. I mean, they're solid, but they're not great. So this is a matchup that I hate to talk about it now, but just I think Alabama can win easily because Georgia does the things, run the football. They like, Brock Bowers may come back. That's fine, but I think the matchup sets up great for Alabama. I really do to win this game. And when they play Georgia in the Dome, Alabama's been extremely successful in beating Georgia down in Atlanta. So we'll see. Got a couple weeks away. So we'll just be patient. Be patient. That game is 3 weeks away. If Georgia, then they got to win tonight or next week. So they're not locked in yet, but we're going to assume that they're going to win the game. But we'll see, Adam. It's going to be fun. Nobody stopped him yet. 7 touchdowns on the ground for Jalen Milroe. I saw this stat. I want to read it to you real quick. And I think it was Cole Kublik that tweeted this, but I was like, I mean, if I didn't put a name to this, like you'd been like, what in the world? Let's see here. That guy tweets so much. See. Here we go. Jalen Milroe's last 2 games, guys. 28 carries, 191 yards, 7 touchdowns, 31 of 46, which is amazing. 459 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. That was today. Now, if I'd have said that about anybody else, people have been just salivating about that said player, right? But that's your quarterback, Alabama. That's the guy that's leading your football team. Those are outstanding freaking numbers. And again, if he stays on this path, Alabama is going to be one of the most dangerous teams out there. So that's what we're hoping. He stays healthy. Don't take shots like he did today. Probably put some thigh pads in, a little eye bruise there. But listen, I love what Jalen Milroe is doing. I think it's just going to get better. I mean, Alabama's going to be a scary team, not just this year, but it's a young football team with a lot of players coming back. So it's going to be something to see here coming up in the future.
It definitely is. And look, I was giving Adam a hard time. That was a really good question. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, there's no UGA people in here, and it doesn't matter. Trust me, those coaches
I
watch
don't know,
tape.
man. You got spies all out there, bro. They be
Yeah, we did learn that from Michigan. But listen, everybody could have Adam some slack. Look, Adam asked questions because he genuinely wants to learn things about the game, and I definitely respect that.
Are you saying responses? I need to put what people are saying.
They're saying Adam's basically a UGA plant. He's a spy. I promise he's not, man. Adam's Alabama through and through, and he just wants to educate himself and learn. Because I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, you look at how well we're playing football right now, how dominant this defense has been, and how dominant they are being. And you look at the offense and how effective and explosive they've been in recent weeks. It really doesn't seem like there's many answers right now for either sides of the ball. So that's a good question. So, hey guys, cut Adam some slack, man. We love Adam.
Leave my man Lamparello. His name is Adam Lamparello.
That's
Leave him
right.
alone. Leave him alone.
He's a good guy. He's one of us, man. He's one of us. He said, I swear on my life, I'm not a UGA fan. Adam, you're good, man. We know the truth, man. That's all that matters. Adam, you're good, man. I promise. That's a good question, brother. I was being funny. There's nothing wrong with breaking that stuff down. That's good. That's good to know. A lot of people don't necessarily know those intricate details. All right. We've got Kelly with the 1999 super chat. Kelly, there she is. Kelly Kells. The maturation of this team. There she is. Maturation of this team and Milroe is a thing of beauty. Thank you, Millers, for sharing yourselves every week. Well, you're welcome. No problem at all. We enjoy hopping on here. I'm sorry. I know we're trying to be as active as possible. We both just have really busy schedules. I've had family stuff. It's been tough. We're working. I'm looking at, if you guys know anybody that does a lot of software stuff like this, I might be hiring somebody because it helps me because I do a lot of this stuff and it's just hard with my schedule. So might be looking into that. That definitely will help us get more content out. But Kelly, you're 100% right. I mean, the maturation of this team, man, has been nothing short of impressive. Coach Saban rants and raves about how impressed he is with the growth, the maturation, the resiliency of this team. I'll be honest, listen to what he says about this team. It's almost as if he's like, hell, I don't know what we were going to be this season. It's almost like he genuinely didn't really, not that he didn't, I wouldn't say he was doubting this team. He just probably was like, this just might be one of those years. We'll see how it goes. And I think this team has really, I think they've exceeded his own expectations. And I can sense and I can tell he genuinely is proud of this football team, and as he should, man. I mean, again, you go back to week 2, people saying, oh, they're going to suffer 2 or 3 more losses after that Texas loss, right? There's no quarterback. This Alabama team's different. They're soft. They're not this and that. And then you look at them now, man. They're playing physical. They're explosive offensively right now. Defensively, they're dominant. They're forcing turnovers, right? I mean, it is very reminiscent of Alabama football in that standard, right? Are they perfect? No, nobody's ever perfect. But they're playing some really good football. And I can tell Coach Saban's definitely proud of them. So just seeing that growth from week 1, week 2 to now where we're at, what is it, week 10, 11 in college football?
So week 11.
Week 11 in college football. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing short of amazing. And you got to tip your hat to this football team for making that decision. These guys made it up in their mind that we want to be a good football team. We have what we need. It's up to us to do that. We got to trust in the coaching. We've got to buy in and we've got to get to work. We've got to improve on a lot of stuff. It's not too late. We've got a lot of work to do, but it's not too late. We can still accomplish everything. And that's exactly what they've done. And now they've just solidified themselves to go play in Atlanta for an SEC championship. So kudos
Kelly,
to these guys, man.
As I light up my nice champagne Perdomo, you're spot on. The maturation of Jalen Milroe has been beautiful. And listen, you talking about a kid. I love what they were saying today on the television about his family, coming from a military family, being that is Veterans Day weekend. And again, God bless all the veterans, people that are serving, people that have served, have lost their lives serving our country. Again, happy Veterans Day. Want to shout y'all out and thank you so much for what you're doing, even now that we can just do stuff like this and talk about this little silly game called football. But we want to shout you out and say God bless you and thank y'all for your service. But Milroe came from that background. They talked about when he got benched and how his mindset, didn't change. He didn't sit there and just pout. And he kept working. He kept a great attitude. And Nick Saban has talked about that. One of the reasons he felt like that was a big deal for him, how he handled that 1 week being out. And look at what has happened. I mean, since the Texas game, beautiful. I mean, it's just every week it's climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. So I feel good about the direction. I love what Tommy Rees is doing, showing that he can really be a great player, and he's about changing. And I thought that was great that they said that, hey, 3-4 weeks ago, they just, hey, they took their playbook and just pretty much threw it in the trash and say, hey, let's build around what this young man could do because he's special. And that's one of the smartest things that they've ever done this season, at least. So I'm with you. It's a thing of beauty.
It really is. And I just want to echo that, on this Veterans Day, definitely want to thank all our veterans out there. Growing up outside of Fort Jackson, spending a lot of time on base. I got a lot of family in the military that have served, a lot of friends and grew up with that have served. So definitely want to say thank you for everyone's service, to the men and women in the services, for all that you guys do, keeping us safe and secure and allowing us to have this opportunity to do the things that we love. So definitely want to throw that out there. But man, I mean, it feels good to get a big time win, definitely. And then, look, I wasn't feeling the 11 o'clock game because I do a Tide tailgate show on 100.9.
Day I was asleep.
Yeah, I know you were every game day, 5 hours before kickoff. Me and DC do the Tide tailgate show. So 6 o'clock we got going, right? And I had to wake up real early, but it was worth it, right? We got a big win, big dominant win. I want to ask you real quick. Oh, and thank you to everybody in the chat real quick. If you did serve, if you're a veteran or you have family that served, but if you specifically serve, let us know where you're from and what branch you're in. But thank you to everybody. If we do have any servicemen or women in the chat, let us know what branch and where you're from. But thank you. But I want to ask you this, and I'll ask the chat this too. After a dominant performance, I know we got to see how other teams play out, right? But let's just say everybody in front of us won, right? We'll just say everybody. Do you think a win like this today is enough for them to finally say, all right, we need to give them that bump? They deserve that bump, because it feels like the last ranking that came out, they just kind of like, okay, you beat Tennessee, then you beat LSU. That's good, but we can't really move you up much. I mean, I even just saw a graphic that was basically just saying that I guess they're comparing Oregon's like strength of schedule and their wins. I think they had like one ranked win, and then their strength of schedule and all those parameters, all that stuff was way off than ours. Ours was much more impressive, but they're in front of us. Do you think a dominant performance like today gives us that leverage now to move up in the rankings, given everybody else were to win, hypothetically?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking the chat, but asking you right now, yeah.
Well, I think it just depends on we looked at the resumes, right? Alabama resume is better than Washington and Oregon. It is. I mean, and the only loss came that they have ranked number 7. So if you compare those two, Alabama resume looks a lot better. That's why I think if Alabama continues to win out, and if it comes down to them or Oregon, say if Oregon wins the Pac-12 and Alabama was a one-loss winner of the SEC, Alabama's resume is going to trump theirs, and Alabama would get in over Oregon or Washington. So I don't know. I mean, when we look at, again, I don't know who Texas plays today. I'll take a look at it, but I think, Alabama, to make it easier, they need Texas to lose, or you take that whole head-to-head thing out. But I think that, as I said, Michigan, Ohio State has to play. Then you got Washington and Oregon on the class to play for the Pac-12. So a lot of stuff can happen. But I like the rest of Alabama. I like where they are, what they're doing. And I think, again, Georgia, if they continue to keep winning, they're going to be still a high rank, maybe number. If they survive last week, Missouri, they beat Ole Miss, they beat Tennessee. That's 3, even though their schedule has been terrible up to that point, right? But if they win these next 3 games, they probably leapfrog Ohio State, become number 1, and they play Alabama, who's going to be sitting there 8, 7, 6, wherever they end up. And if Alabama beat them and Georgia's won, it's almost like Alabama wants Georgia to keep winning because they probably going to be higher. If they lose, say they lose tonight, they're at 2. Where will they go? Do they drop behind Alabama? Right? Because their schedule hasn't been tough. If they lose to Ole Miss, who's ranked in the top 10, they're going to probably drop to 4, 5, or 6. Alabama will bump up, but we'll see. A lot to be done here the next couple of weeks. To be determined in the next couple of weeks. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And just going back real quick, you got is it Ephraim? I think Ephraim. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. U.S. Army retired. Appreciate your service. Who else did I get? Oh, Justin. He's from Ashland, Alabama, but he served in the Army, Fort Campbell, and Fort Bragg. Very familiar with Fort Bragg. Thank you for your service. Kelly said both her parents served, the Air Force, and I think her mom's stateside. That's awesome. So thank them for their service, and might have missed somebody or two, but if I did, again, thank y'all so much for your service. But yeah, you're right. I think a lot, will be determined in the next couple of weeks. I was just curious because it seems like we can't get no love right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't understand it. Given, again, we've got 3 ranked wins and some good wins, right? I mean, look how we played LSU. That really good offense they have, the top offense in the country, right? Shut down Ole Miss, right? Tennessee, another good football team, going on the road with the dominant performance against Kentucky. I think we deserve it. I think if anybody knows ball and you're watching Alabama right now, you should know that they're a dangerous football team, and they've definitely proved themselves to be one of the top teams in the country. And I think when it comes down to it, without a doubt, they will be labeled one of the top 4 teams in the country. So,
well, just some score updates for those that are hanging out with us. Colorado and Arizona tied right now, just under 5 minutes in the 4th. That game is tied at 31-457 to be exact right now. Let's see here. Miami game that Alabama will be watching. Miami and Florida State, they're tied at halftime at 10. So Florida State jumped out on Miami 10-0. Miami has tied that game. It's at the half. That game's on ABC. It's tied at 10. Another game to note for Alabama fans out there, Utah, the Utes are leading Washington right now at halftime, 28-24. So there's another team that's ranked in front of Alabama. They're at number 5, and they're trailing right now. Again, a whole half to play. We know Penix Jr. and that offense can score quick, 28-24, but their defense has a lot to be desired as Utah has scored 28 points in the first half. Other games in the SEC, Tennessee is trailing Missouri. That game is at the half. Missouri leads Tennessee. That's a team matchup. That game 13-7. The Mizzou Tigers is leading good old Rocky Top. Early on today, Michigan, despite not having Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines, didn't bother them. They won 24-15. I don't know if you saw the post-game interview, but the interim coach for today, very emotional, telling the reporter that this was for Coach Jim Harbaugh. He was crying and very emotional about that win over Penn State. Ohio State has Michigan State tonight, 7:30. Don't expect that to be any tough game. Georgia, Ole Miss. That game is at 7 o'clock. That game's coming up on ESPN. Keep an eye on this one. another one that Bama wants to watch is Texas and TCU. TCU 4-5 on the year. Texas sits at number 7, but Texas have had issues before with TCU. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Florida LSU tonight. We'll see how LSU bounced back after the loss last week to the Crimson Tide. North Carolina and Duke. That game is also tonight. And Southern Cal and Oregon. We'll be watching that. Southern Cal with Caleb Williams in that offense. We know Lincoln Riley, those guys can score a bunch of points, but their defense, they don't really have one. So we'll see what happens. But this is a game, too, that we could say trap game or check out the upset alert as Oregon and Southern Cal. That game late, Pac-12 at night, 10:30. So that's a late start. So we'll be watching that game. But right now, Florida State tied with Miami at the half at 10. And we'll be watching that because if Florida State lose, they're out. They're done. Their schedule's so weak. Their best win is LSU. And if they lose, if Miami can find a way to win this game tonight, that opens up for Alabama. And it will definitely bring in the conversation if Alabama and Georgia, when they play in Atlanta and Alabama beats them, right? And you got a one-loss Georgia and a one-loss champion in Alabama. Well, both those teams will the college football playoffs get 2 teams. That's something else to keep an eye on. So there's a little score update for you here via the good old new iPhone 15.
Appreciate that. And I might have missed it. Did you say the Auburn Arkansas score?
No, I didn't see that one.
Well,
maybe I overlooked it just because it's Auburn.
No, you're good. You're good. I just didn't want to repeat it because I was looking them up just because I was thinking about, I was going to ask you about that last game. Do you think, what are your thoughts on that? And I'm looking at the score right now. It's showing Auburn up 24-3 over Arkansas with a minute and 10 seconds remaining in the second quarter. A minute and 11 remaining in the second quarter. So,
well, listen, it's the Iron Bowl, man. And Alabama fans know this better than anybody. Anything can happen down there.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm sure there's been times that Alabama has gone down there with the better team, probably most of the time, and lost. Now, this game don't mean anything, but it does mean something because if you're 2 loss and you still beat Georgia, I don't think Alabama gets into the playoffs. So it's a huge game from that standpoint. But looking at this team, Hugh Freeze, who's had great success, better success than anybody against Nick Saban, especially in the SEC when he's at Ole Miss. This is a team that have nothing to lose, and all they're going to want to do is play spoiler. That's what they want to do. So they're going to come out. I hate these types of games because these teams have nothing to lose. They're going to throw out all kind of they're going to throw wrinkles in their offense, trick plays. They'll do anything to try to win that game. So let's just be honest. On paper, the game shouldn't be close. I mean, Auburn is not – they can't really throw the football. But I just go back to the quarterback. They play 2 quarterbacks. They got the transfer from Michigan State. He's okay, but this team don't have the players. They just don't have the players. Defensively, they're not bad. And Alabama should truck them. But it is the Iron Bowl, and we've seen crazy things happen down there. I keep hearing voodoo and other things. I never knew that until this year, hearing fans say crazy. You need to stop speaking that. You need to stop saying that crap because that's what happens. You start speaking that foolishness, and then things start to happen. Leave it alone. Alabama's the best team. Go down there and put a foot in their tail, and then done. That's what you got to do. But it scares me because what we've seen for 3 quarters or 2.5 quarters with Jaden Daniels, well, last year that same Auburn team wasn't that. Went to Tuscaloosa, and they made it very interesting. And largely because the quarterback ran all over. I mean, it was nothing. Yeah, we gave up close to 200 yards or more rushing. And the fact that we struggled with that concerns me. So it's always one of those games. It's a rival game. You just don't know what to expect. Even when one team is much better than the other, you just know that they're going to play out of their brains because it's Alabama. And if they can play spoiler, that's what they would love to do. But I think the big thing for Alabama is getting guys back healthy, coming back next week, dominating Chattanooga, be able to take players out of the game, and so they can get back healthy and go on this next run.
No doubt. let's say we can take a couple of questions real quick. If you guys have any questions or you want to offer some thoughts or some talking points, we're at 50 minutes. Yeah, we got a few more minutes in here. If anybody wants to ask a couple questions, we can get to some questions real quick. Like my dad was saying earlier, there's just not a whole bunch really really there's so many positives out of this game. And obviously, we mentioned all the accolades and strong performances from today. There's not too much really to really pick apart from this performance today from Alabama. So really, really about said all we could say about this team and the path they're on. And obviously with Chattanooga up next week, not too much really to add on there. Just kind of just look forward to Auburn. Again, I know you got listen, and that's coming from me. I'm Mr. Be Where Your Feet Are, right? That's ingrained in me. But I think I see Adam mentioned the Citadel. Adam, gosh, please don't bring that up, man. I will never play a Citadel team or want to play a Citadel team ever again. I respect them because the whole military stuff they got going. But dude, those dudes with those cut blocks, they're like biting our ankles the whole game. I mean, that was miserable playing them. Adam says, why aren't we seeing Justice Haynes? Adam, the thing about that is when you have a stable of running backs, it's tough to get so many guys reps, right? And when you got two veterans like Jason McClellan, Roydell Williams, those guys are already receiving the butter load, right? Like they're getting all those carries. There's only so many to go around. Plus, with the running back position, you kind of want to give it to guys when they're hot. And sometimes if you have too many guys in that rotation, it's harder for someone to get hot, right? It's nice to have fresh legs, but sometimes I say like a two-guy rotation at running back, then you might have a third feature back in there here and there, which is what we do. You got Jason Roydell, then Jan would be that kind of third featured back. I think that's about really all you got room for. So that would be my thing. Basically, if you're going to give Justice Haynes reps, you got to take reps away from somebody else. And that's kind of hard to say, or you want to take them away from Jace, Roydell, Jam. It's hard. There's just so much talent. And you got to remember, he's a true freshman, so he's still growing and developing. I mean, I can tell you one thing. Next season, I think he's going to have a huge role because he's a very dynamic player. He definitely does set himself apart from the other guys with his skill set, in my opinion, just from the eye test. So he's got a very bright future. But I think it's just, when you have depth like that with veterans in front of you, it's just hard to take snaps away from those guys and get somebody else. Jeff says, Christian, what was your favorite game to play? I mean, any of the big games for sure. If you mean like specific games that I played in, any of those big games were fun. But if you mean like a specific game, like the Iron Bowl or like Tennessee, I was about to say I always love playing the big championship games, but just because of the atmosphere. I mean, you work so hard just to get to that point. I mean, it takes so much to get to it. Whether it's the SEC championship, SEC championship is really fun. I love playing in that game. National championships are always cool. Obviously, it's a national championship, unless you lose the last second in Tampa. Not fun. But the Iron Bowl, man, I mean, just the energy and the atmosphere is definitely, I mean, there's nothing like it. It's arguably the greatest rivalry in college football. So I love it. I love every bit of it. I love, all the passion from not only the players, but the fans, coming from South Carolina, then playing in it, man, you realize the significance of it very quickly. So I love playing. And so really, man, I mean, anytime you get to strap up and play football is great, if I'm being honest with you. But definitely, championship games, man, the atmosphere is just different. You know what I mean? Like it clearly doesn't feel like a regular game, right? Then when you win, you got confetti falling down on you. Get to do the whole, post-game celebration with more confetti and all the. It's so many great memories, and that's why I'm so forever grateful for my experiences here at Alabama, because there's a lot of guys that maybe get to play in one of those games. I played in 4 straight national championship games and 4 total SEC championship games. Only didn't go once in my career. So I mean, I was very blessed and fortunate, Jeff. I mean, it honestly is amazing the fact that Alabama is year in and year out competing for champ. I mean, I don't think people understand how hard it is to get to those games, right? I mean, you guys are seeing it this year. Like, look at this football team. Look how much they've had to stick it out and how much grit and resiliency they've had to have to get to this point. Like, so them securing their spot in Atlanta, like, I know sometimes as fans, you guys are so used to Alabama playing an SEC championship game, but I'm telling you right now, these guys have put in so much work to improve as players, to ultimately improve as a football team to get to this point, man. So I'm happy and proud as hell of these guys. Let's see. Dang, when I ask you guys for questions, a whole bunch of them start rolling in, so I get get kind of thrown off. Let's see what else we got. When will we see a lot of Ty Simpson? Will we see a lot of Ty Simpson next game? Well, he's quarterback number 2. Yeah. So, I mean, you're playing Chattanooga again. You want to respect your opponents, but realistically, I mean, we know what type of game this is. I'd imagine you will see a bunch of them. I liked what I saw out of him today. You know, he threw the ball accurately. He looks like he's grown and developed as a player as well. Showed some nice athleticism. You know, putting his foot in the ground, picking up things like 9 yards on in the red zone. So I like what I'm seeing out of him. Again, and we talked about this. Was it yesterday we talked about it on the show? Or I can't remember, or maybe I talked about it on the Tide Tailgate show so early, I was so tired, but just talking about the competition. You talk about the competition at the quarterback position. I mean, you got Jalen Milroe, who's still got a couple years left, Ty Simpson, who's making progress, Julian Sand coming in, Dylan Lonergan, a guy who's been very impressive in the spring and even in practices for a freshman, right? So there's going to be a lot of competition at that quarterback position, but you know, where we're at right now, he's quarterback number 2. So I think you'll see a lot of them. Obviously, if we're up in a game, yes, that's who's going to be in the game. That's who you're going to see. And hopefully it's at a moment where they actually open things up like it was today. You know, sometimes we're so up on guys, like we don't want to throw the football because you don't want to be disrespectful, right? They just do the whole handoff thing. I get you want to be respectful, but I'm one of those guys, like, I want this guy to get experience. He needs experience actually dropping back in the pocket, throwing the football, playing the position, not just handing the ball off with 5 minutes left. So hopefully it's one of those situations. Hopefully it's him running the offense, getting some valuable experience, and not just hand the football off, which I think it will be.
Well,
given,
you want, as I said earlier, be jamming that you want to get a lead. You want to get Milroe out the game. All right. This is a game. I don't like these games toward the end of the year. I think you play these daggum games early. Don't play Texas, play Chattanoogas of the world while you're working on your growth. I hate these types of games because now Alabama's clinched the West, and you're scared and I can't remember. I need to go look at the tape, but I don't know if they run a triple option. A lot of times when you play Southern Conference teams, that I used to be the color analyst for ESPN for a couple of years, and I know a lot of those teams run a lot of triple option and things like that. And someone mentioned the Citadel, man. You don't want to play in these games, right? Because they're cutting you at your guys' ankles and knees. You hate these types of games because you fear of someone getting hurt. And so you just want to get a lead, jump on them. They should not be able to stop your offense. Try to get up 3-4 touchdowns and then start running the ball. Play Ty Simpson, let him get some reps, some valuable reps, but which I expect that to happen. But again, you just don't know. But for me, the scariest thing is keeping your guys healthy when you're playing these types of games at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to consider for sure. And then especially given, Jalen Milroe's role in this offense being a running threat. They have quarterback design runs. He's a runner, right? He's actively receiving hits. So that's definitely something to consider. But kind of like what you were saying about Auburn, I don't even like speaking like that. Because they used to always say this because you have a bunch of guys that, like, when it gets later in the year, they don't want to practice anymore. They're worried about injuries and stuff. And they used to always tell us, most of the time when guys get hurt, it's because they're thinking about getting hurt or they're worried about getting hurt. Then unfortunately, that ends up happening. So that's kind of how I look at this, man. I mean, you don't want to change anything or do anything different in fear of getting hurt or anything happening. You just got to go out there and trust and believe that God's going to, give you a healthy game and just go out there and play your game. Don't alter or shift anything, because sometimes guys are subconsciously, they're changing things because they're trying to play in a preventative manner. They end up actually doing the opposite and hurting themselves. So that's something to think about. Kelly with another $19.99 super chat. Kelly, thank you so much. She said, no questions, don't need anything. Just super grateful y'all are here to share with us. Kelly, and she threw in some heart eyes and some hearts. Kelly, thank you so much. We'll give you a heart. There you go. Give you a little heart back at you, Kelly. Brother, that's
Yeah.
a circle.
Kelly's the sweetest person.
Wait, do that again. That's an oval, man. You don't know how to make a heart, my man. Wait, are you serious right now?
Man, it's the effort that counts, okay?
Bro, what is this? That looks like a burger. That looks like a burger. Like you're trying to eat it like an invisible burger.
Well,
Bro,
I got NFL fingers. They all broke up. You know what I mean?
You curve it. Like look, like make a C and another C.
And then this finger I can't bend.
I have broken fingers too. That's as straight as that gets. That's as straight as that. I can't straighten it.
Look at that. That's terrible.
I'm with you. We look like we're throwing up gang signs, right? I mean, our fingers are messed up too.
No.
I mean, it's part of it, man. Part of the game. It's battle wounds, right? But Kelly, thank you again. This is fun hanging out with you guys. We seriously do enjoy it. We cut up every now and then.
I do. It's unfortunate. I'm out and about doing on game days, and now that of course the daylight saving time has ended, it gets dark, and to try to find light because I'm dark. I'm sexual child. Give it up, a sexual child. So I got to put my head up under the light so y'all can see all the wrinkles. And
it's better this time though. No, this is good lighting. Last time, I'm not gonna lie, you definitely look like a character you haven't unlocked.
Well, I just went on my other phone and looked, and you can see me just fine. So that's good. But when I have to go back like this, it's dark.
Nah, see there you go. That's good, right? It's good.
Back, you can just see this.
Yeah, you look like you're in an interrogation room when you back up. But see, when you scoot up though, you about my color, man. You look smooth, man. You're glowing right now.
You know.
That's some good lighting.
I've been drinking a lot of water.
Yeah, and I think you said you started back your gym membership, which is good too. So good for you, man.
I'm on that thing.
Okay. See, there he goes. I got him started. We probably got time for a couple more questions real quick if you guys want to ask them real quick before we get out of here. But again, what was your thoughts? I mean, obviously you got to be impressed with a big dominant victory. I mean, obviously we probably could have beat these guys 60-7, but nonetheless a really good performance. But what are your guys' thoughts? How are you feeling? You know, obviously heading into Chattanooga, we're not really worried about it, but how you feel heading into the Plains in a couple weeks? Any concern there?
Do y'all print T-shirts that says SEC West champions?
No, I don't even acknowledge. I don't even acknowledge that. But I honestly don't. It's not like SEC West champion. I mean, yeah, I guess there is, but it's like we just look at it as, all right, we earned the right to go play for the SEC championship. It's not like, we are the SEC West championship. Excuse me, the SEC West champions. Never heard of that, really. It's just, we get to go play for the SEC championship, or hey, we're about to go win the SEC championship.
As a Gamecock in 2010, when the only time they won it, and that's the year they beat Alabama. You know, we had T-shirts, everything, because they don't happen too much. Don't happen too much for them.
That's embarrassing, man. I hate that for you guys. Honestly, I truly do. I don't really know what that's like, but it's all right, man. Y'all, look, you know, I will say Savell Newton had tweeted. It was like the graphic that they put on, like the starting lineup at the beginning of a game when it's aired on TV. Savell Newton had posted one, and it had like the Gamecocks front seven lineup. Y'all had some dogs, man. It was
NFL
year was it? I can't remember what year it was, but you had Stephon, Bump and Run, Gilmore, Javian Clowney, Devin Taylor, DJ Swearinger. I'm thinking who else was? I'm drawing a blank, but I mean, y'all had a squad, man. Alshon Jeffrey was on the other side of the ball. He wasn't on that list, but I mean, now the quarterback Stephen Garcia,
Marcus Lattimore.
Marcus Lattimore. Yep. Y'all had some dudes, man.
Well, that's the team that beat you all. We don't have to talk about that. You weren't even playing then. You was like in a.
No, it doesn't matter though. I mean, look, but I remember it though. It was in Columbia.
Yeah, I was covering the game doing TV.
What was that like? What was that like? Getting the big upset.
Well, it's good
I mean,
for
I
us.
know how you are. I know you don't really. You're a player. You don't. It's not like you're gonna be like cheering in the. You're just kind of like, oh, it's a big win.
Well, it was Steve Spurrier, which I didn't like him, so it didn't matter.
We got a lot of people saying that they're big fans of Dylan Lonergan. Look, that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, that's going to be a very talented room, right? I mean, it already is right now, but I'm saying you throw in, you know, Julian Sand coming in. I get he's a young guy, so I'm not going to sit there and make it seem like he's necessarily going to be pushing for the job. He definitely probably will compete. But you talk about a Dylan Lonergan with another year under his belt, he's going to be competing. Ty Simpson, another year under his belt. We're jumping way too far ahead, but definitely going to be interesting to see how that position ends up playing itself out. You talk about the transfer portal, and I'm not trying to get into all of that, but you just got to be realistic. Only one guy can play the quarterback position, right? It's not like defensive end. Hey, we can rotate, we can get extra guys reps, running back.
South Carolina is trying to get there, so the expectations. So this is my wrap.
Your wrap.
My weekly TV show here in South Carolina. What I had to say about the Gamecocks. Gotta find some joy. You got to appreciate wins, but at the same time, what's the expectation? Right. What's your goal? Yeah. Where are you as a program? Clemson is in a different place than South Carolina. Clemson has been a national championship team. South Carolina is trying to get there. So the expectations can't be the same. That's why my answer to you is different. You guys come into the year with your chest poked out, and we're the standard, and we are. We are. That's why you see our fans so outraged at the way we played this season, because we have hit that standard, and we are there as a program. We've been there consistently. You're not a standard. We are, in my opinion, and we are in our fan base opinion. That's why they care so much. Okay. Since 2018, since Ohio State game, what have you done? I got receipts. Go check them. You've been a 500 football team. Since 2018? Since you lost Ohio State. You got to go check those receipts a little better. Check them. Gotta find some joy. You got to appreciate wins, but at the same time, that's what's the expectation. Myself and Patrick Sapp, he played at Clemson, played in the league for a while, quarterback turned linebacker. So we go at it pretty good. Of course, you know me, I do attack Clemson a lot, and rightfully so, and deservedly. So, I mean, Dabo's 20. Says some really just ratchet stuff sometimes. So I have to get on him a little bit.
Yeah, you like to do that. You definitely enjoy doing that. But
here's another one. Here's another one.
Hold on, wait. Let's get to these questions. We're talking Alabama, man.
I know, but I want you to see. Hold on.
We don't care about South Carolina in here.
All coaches, please stay on social. I don't get it. We get caught up into social media. I know they have to for recruiting, but when you're worried about what a podcast or radio station or even myself saying about your program, if I'm drawing all this attention to you, you got a problem. I don't care who the coach is. I understand what fans going to say. This fans is short for fanatical, right? They don't understand what you understand. So, we have some good stuff here. Check it out on my X. You want to hear some good content.
We cover Alabama here, man. We cover Alabama here. We ain't care. We don't worry. Nobody wants to read and listen to Clemson. We don't like Clemson. We want the least amount of Clemson possible. Respectfully, those are great talking points, but we don't like Clemson around here. But
we don't like them here either. That's my point.
We don't want to hear about Clemson. Let's get a couple more questions before we get out of here. Before he starts going, he's dancing, playing Carolina Clemson stuff. He's off his rocker.
Like a love from somebody I had never even seen. He welcomed me.
You having a concert in the car?
Let's go.
All right. Any more questions before we get out of here? Well, we're going on 1:10. Going once, going twice. Sold. I think we'll go ahead and get up out of here for today, folks. But we appreciate everybody joining in. I promise we're going to get on a better schedule. Definitely want to get back to the Thursday Miller's Edge Extra for sure. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll be there. Then again, every Monday through Friday, we are live with our show, The Miller's Edge, on Tide 100.9 and 1230 WTBC in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you guys check us out. Again, if you want to hear us every day, you can right there on the radio. And you don't have to just tune in on FM. You can go to tide100.9.com and listen to us. Or you can also download the app. It's free. You can listen to us there or go listen to previously recorded shows. But again, I promise, we're going to get back in here and start doing this as much as possible. I know I asked you guys on that extra day. I think you guys, there's a bunch of different days, but we'll try. I think maybe Tuesday and Thursday might work. But we'll keep you guys posted. But make sure you guys follow us on X at the Miller's Edge. That way you stay up to date. I'll post everything on there.
Oh, by the way, poor Deion Sanders suffered another walk-off loss, 34-31. Arizona kicks field goal as time expired, and the Buffaloes go down once again, this time to 25th ranked Arizona Wildcats. So Deion's going to get there. I mean, they're close. They just don't have no defense and don't have no protection for Shador. But they do play hard. They're 2 wins away from becoming bowl eligible, and that ain't gonna happen. Excuse me.
It might. All right. Well, we got an influx of questions right when I said we'll probably head up out of
here. Let's go with rapid fire.
I'll hit them real quick, before we get out of here. Philip, I saw you in here a bunch. I'm sorry. I'll get to you real quick. Miller, who do you think can cover Brock Bowers if Alabama plays in the SEC championship game, which 90% sure they probably will, knowing Georgia, how they're playing right now. I mean, how does Bama defend him? Who will cover him? Well, I'll tell you this. As a tight end, typically, linebackers and safeties match up on tight ends. And you look at our roster, that would be, a collection of, Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell, maybe Trezor Marshall. I don't think I'd feel very comfortable Marshall lining up on him, respectfully. But Caleb Downs, at that safety position, Jalen Key, more of a free safety. I mean, Malachi Moore plays that star position when Jalen Key is in there. He's moved back to safety with the Key injury. But I think Malachi Moore, honestly, I know he's definitely going to be a little undersized covering the tight end, but, I mean, he's used to doing it at that position. I'd rather him than a linebacker, in my opinion. I'd rather take the smaller, speedier guy on Brock Bowers, in my opinion, just because Brock Bowers is a really good athlete. Plus Malachi Moore, he's a physical player. I think he can match up with them. So you just got to play your game, though. You can't just, stick to, try to just focus on one guy. But there's also things you can do. You can bracket guys. You can run different things to kind of help guys out. So I'd imagine we'd do something like that. You definitely going to have an underneath guy probably to make sure the safety's over the top, providing some help on a guy like Brock Bowers, because he definitely is a big threat.
Well, let me just say this, Philip. It depends on what personnel groupings that are in the game, right? Because Georgia likes to run what we call regular personnel, which you don't see a whole lot of that now in college football, which means, 2 backs, or 21 personnel, 2 backs and a tight end, or 12, 1 tight end, 1 back, 2 tight ends. Listen, if it's in regular and we got our regular base out there and they flex him out and he becomes the number 2 receiver, it's based on what's called and what defense is called. So it could be, anybody. It could be Caleb. It could be a linebacker walked out. It could be, different guys. The key is, and I went on a rant on our show on the Tide the other day, it's about you have to be physical with a guy like Brock Bowers. You can't let tight ends just run down the seam, which is the middle of the field, right? They want to try to create those mismatches. They're going to like him against a smaller safety. They're going to like bigger inside backer, like a Campbell or Marshall, whomever, right? Deontay Lawson. Well, the key is going to be being physical, jamming him at the line of scrimmage. Don't play way off of him, because now it becomes just 7-on-7. And that's the problem with, I think, with football today in general, because one, you got that 5-yard box. Well, you got to play in that box, reroute him. Doesn't, make him release outside, jam and post him up with your hands, things like that. That's how you play a guy like Brock Bowers. And then make him pay when he catches the football. Make him pay. And if you play in zone, you don't have to carry them in the zone. There's different things. There's a lot we could talk about. We're going to get into that for sure on championship week. But I think any of those guys have the potential. But if you don't reroute, if you don't jam him, you don't make things difficult at the line of scrimmage, a guy like that's going to eat you. But we'll get more detail in this matchup as we perceiving is going to happen. But we'll talk about it more.
Excuse me. Sorry, I just saw 2 checks appear. It's my brother. He's a DJ for the Alabama basketball team. So if you go to a basketball game in Coleman Coliseum, excuse me, which next one is Tuesday. I think they're taking on South Alabama. My brother is the DJ. So go attend the game. Go check out the basketball team. I went to the first 2 games so far, and it's been fun, man. And my brother's doing a great job providing a really fun atmosphere. Watch out, buddy. Sorry, dog's almost about to ripping the cords out. But yeah, that was him. And there's Fred making an appearance. We've got a $50 super chat from Sam. Sam, appreciate it, man. Dang, working overtime, huh? Sam came in overtime. We were about to shut it down, and Sam, here he goes. Sam, he goes, guys, today we gave up points because of defensive mistakes, poor tackling, penalties, etc. I know that we shouldn't look ahead, but Auburn put up 300 rushing yards last year. Moving forward, what do you see that Bama needs to clean up on defense, or offense, defense, special teams? Well, Sam, first and foremost, thank you so much for the $50 super chat, man. Much thanks. That's greatly appreciated, brother. But I'll be honest, man. I mean, really, that one touchdown today, the muff punt that led to points. Yeah, I mean, I thought defense we played really well today. I mean, again, you look at the numbers, man. Besides that big run at the end against the reserve guys, I mean, we really held them to probably under 40 yards. Quarterback had less than 170 yards passing. So I thought defense played well. But you talk about last season, those rushing yards. We were playing Robbie Ashford, and they are very unorthodox the way they're playing last season, and that's Auburn I'm talking about. So you just got to be prepared for the rushing attack from the quarterback. Luckily, you got a guy like Jalen Milroe that you face every day in practice to help you prepare for that. But you just got it all starts up front. You got to dominate the line of scrimmage. Then when you're playing a team like Auburn, they like to get tricky and fancy and do all this window dressing and do a lot of pre-snap movement, move things around, a lot of window dressing. They like to run on the perimeter as well, try to get you in space. It's going to be very imperative that you're able to work the perimeter, tackle in space, right? Play your gaps, be aggressive, get penetration, get good knockback, and you should have success. I definitely don't see it playing how it played out last season, right? I don't see that happening at all. But really, to wrap up your question, so offensively, what do we need to clean up? Well, really, it was the offensive line play, which that has improved tremendously. Offensive line has been so much better in recent weeks, so they've really cleaned that up. In my opinion, I think the running backs are doing a nice job. Jalen Milroe has been doing a really good job protecting the football, adding that new layer of his running ability, quarterback design runs, escaping the pocket when it presents itself. So really, I mean, just keep building off of what they're building. I mean, I'll be honest, they're not necessarily doing anything too bad, at least where we're at now. The last few weeks, I mean, they've kind of corrected a lot of those weaknesses and vulnerabilities, if we're being honest. I mean, can you think of anything offensively that really sticks out right now that, I mean, other than Milroe could maybe not hold the ball as long?
Right. Well, I think just continue to just be more decisive, which he was a lot better today. The one interception was really the only bad thing. I mean, they ran the ball consistently. They pass protected great. I thought the receivers did a nice job catching, route running. They had 23 first downs today. So they just got to get better at just continue to get better, I should say, of imposing their will, finishing games, forming that offense when they want to run the ball, when they want to let those big linemen wait for them, just being able to do that consistently. I thought they did that today. Passing game was very sharp. Defensively, you're right, missed tackles. They had the sack. Another points Kentucky scored was when Devin Leary escaped the sack. Should have been a negative play. But yet they let him out of the pocket, threw for a first down or 1 yard short of a first down because they would have got out. No, they got a first down because that would have stalled the drive had they just got the sack. But it's little things. I mean, not as many mistakes. They made a mistake on the one touchdown, Nick Saban said, down in the red zone near the goal line. They had a mistake in the secondary. So limit those. Keep, getting better at that. Get better at tackling. Other than that, special teams been solid. No field goal attempts today. All the extra points were good. The muff punt, and Nick Saban said in his press conference, was not Kool-Aid because people were asking about maybe putting someone else back there, and he kind of emphatically said, "Hey, that was not on Kool-Aid. That was on the gunner." So I think everything is the trajectory is just right. I think it's right. They gave up the big run on defense. Christian was talking about that was a run of 74 yards. They got to the one. They was at 25. And a great hustle by Caleb Downs, tracking him down, knocking him out to one. But that was 74 yards. If you take that one run, that was late in the fourth quarter when they had substituted, put a lot of backups in the game. You take that run away, Kentucky might have had 20 yards.
Yeah.
Right? The 95 total yards, you take 74 away. There you go, 21 yards. If you take that run away, they had 21 yards rushing. So, but the per carry was it was nothing. So Alabama's been great at stopping the run. They on the perimeter. The people attack their perimeter. But I think Sam, they're really doing a good job in all phases. They just got to continue to. My biggest fear would be, especially when they play Georgia. I'm assuming it's going to be Georgia. Is how they pass protect, keeping Jalen Milroe upright, because when he has time, as we saw him today, he stands in that pocket, he delivers strike and pretty accurate. So they can continue that, man. That's going to be a tough offense to start. But what you're saying about Auburn, that's what I said earlier. If you just joining us, Christian asked me what scares me about that game. It is that. What's the quarterback's name again, Christian?
Robbie Ashford.
Robbie Ashford. Who's extremely fast, probably just as fast as Milroe. Last year ran all over the yard at Bryant-Denny Stadium. We had no answer. And then based on what we've seen in 2.5 quarters with Jaden Daniels, scares me a little bit. So we're going to have to get better when we face a guy like that, keeping him in the cage, keeping him fenced in, and then be able to get him on the ground when we're able to create negative plays. But, hey, man, blessings, and thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Great question. But right now, to sum it up, I think everything is trending the way it should be trending. And if it stays the course, Alabama will continue to get better and be a really, really formidable opponent for anybody down the stretch.
100%. Yeah, that's why, Sam, a great question. But when you asked it, I'm like, man, I'll be honest, the way they played in recent weeks, it's hard to really nitpick too many things. I mean, yeah, you got little things here and there. You mentioned Jaden Daniels, kind of running all over us in that first half last week. Today, not too much to nitpick, but really, man, like you said, they just got to keep doing what they're doing and keep that right mentality, that hungry mindset, and they should be able to accomplish everything they want to accomplish. So again, thank you so much, Sam, for that $50 super chat. Then speaking of Auburn, who we don't like mentioning, just got to throw this out there. They are up 34-3 against the Arkansas Razorbacks. So they're finally finding some rhythm, man. I mean, you might be onto something. Maybe they're kind of hitting stride. And like you said, I mean, it's the Iron Bowl. We all know how that goes. They're going to play the best they've played all year, and we're going to them. So
it's going to be a close game.
I was about to say, not jumping ahead. Do I see it being like how this Kentucky game went? No. Do I see it, them really having a chance to beat us? Not quite, but I think it definitely will probably be closer than people expect. I'm sure the spread's going to come out. We're probably going to be double-digit favorites. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that, only because it's unfortunately Auburn. There's always some fluke crap that goes on, but it is what it is. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I mean, I guess Chattanooga's not too much of a bridge to really cross, if we're being honest with you. All right, 124. All right, we'll give about one or two more questions, and we'll probably get up out of here. I know I said that a couple of times, but man, this has been a fun one. I appreciate you guys. Thank you again, everybody in here. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video. That helps us out. Comment, just interact with us. That definitely helps, but definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. If you like what you're seeing, you like the content, and that way you don't miss a moment. We'd love to have you guys join the team. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for sure, and follow us on all social media platforms to keep up with us and listen to us daily, Monday through Friday on Tide 100.9. Weekdays, again, that's 11 to 12 a.m. Central Time. So check us out there as well. There, you can call in there. You can call in, chat with us, talk about whatever you want to talk about as well.
Word.
So we'll probably just go ahead and get up out of here. I think Curlon said Ashford hadn't played for Auburn in the last 2 games. The other guys, second to Thorne. So, yeah, I mean, we're just saying it's one of those things where if they wanted to try to attack us with that type of offense, they've got a guy who definitely is capable.
Well,
in Robbie Ashford.
if Ashford doesn't play, no chance Auburn beats Alabama.
Well, yeah, they got Peyton Thorne's playing right now. He's
You're
11-19 for
You're
100.
darker than me.
Oh, well, Peyton. Yeah, this Peyton Thorne is playing right now. He's 11-19 for 152 yards for 2 touchdowns and interceptions so far.
Well, Arkansas is probably turning the ball over and giving them points, I'm sure.
It's not showing KJ Jefferson with any turnovers, so I don't know if somebody fumbled or not. But like I said, they're finally kind of getting a little bit of rhythm, so it'll be for a fun game. I hate to say this, but as much as I'd love to dominate Auburn just because I don't like them, I like the game being competitive at least, right? Obviously, I love for us to pull away at the end and really put our foot on their throat, but it is fun.
I want to blow up. I wanted their butt kicked. I don't want no competitive game.
When I say competitive, I'm just mean like it. Sometimes, like when it's just like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's not. It's almost like you're playing somebody and they're just so trash, like it's not fun. Like you want it to have some competitiveness to it, right? I still want to dominate them, but you want to have a little competitiveness. I mean, they're our little brothers, but you still want to have a little competitiveness. So,
real quick score update. Florida State now leads Miami 20-13. That game, 5.5 minutes in the third. Washington still losing to Utah 7 minutes ago in the third, 28-27. Tennessee is now down 2 touchdowns to Missouri, 22-7. So Missouri, that's the end of the third. That game's head quarter. So if Tennessee loses, I think that's going to pretty much wrap that up for them as far as the SEC East. Central Florida is beating down Oklahoma State 38-3. Oklahoma State ranked number 15. Iowa and Rutgers 6-0, and then there was another one I want.
Florida State is winning 20-13 against Miami right now. 5 minutes in the third quarter left.
I just said that one.
Oh, I got you. My fault.
Yeah. Anyway, those are the ones that we're keeping an eye on. Of course, tonight again, Oregon game, Southern Cal, 10:30 Eastern time. Watching that one, and then Texas and TCU. Those are two upcoming games that we'll be watching as Alabama fans. Hopefully, both of them will lose.
Yeah, we'll see if Washington can find a way to pull it off against Utah. This is definitely so. I'm probably going to turn that on when we get off here. But again, appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody joining us for our post-game show, wrapping up this dominant performance over Kentucky. Again, big Alabama. Win. Yeah, big win. Alabama defeating the Kentucky Wildcats 49-21 on the road in a dominant effort. Jalen Milroe setting records, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Another week consecutively, he set a record at Alabama. So, tip your hat to him and to the team collectively for a 4-quarter dominant performance. But again, trending in the right direction. You got Chattanooga at home next week for the last home game. If you guys are in town, come hang out with us at Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village. We do our radio show live from Buffalo's Cafe, Fridays of home game weekends. This is the last one, folks. So if you guys want to come hang out with us, enjoy some good food, listen to the radio show, just like I said, man, just have a good time. Come on over to Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village from 11. We actually stay an extra. So the show's from 11 to 12, but we stay until about 1 o'clock. So come meet us, hang out, enjoy some good food. Again, that's at Buffalo's Cafe right there in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa. And if you want to go out and just hang out, get some good food outside of that. Wednesdays, they got all-you-can-eat wings, $17.99, and fries. You can't beat it. Weekday lunch specials, $9.99. It includes a drink, man. I'm telling you, this is like a hidden gem. It's a big place in a popular spot, but I don't think a lot of people are knowing about it. But now they do. It's the new home of the Miller's Edge. So come check us out. Come hang out and enjoy some good food. Again, that's at Buffalo's Cafe this upcoming Friday. But again, man, thank you so much for everybody's support, especially the super chats. So thankful for all you guys' support. You guys help put all this stuff on. So thank you for your support and making this possible. So shout out to Adam, Kelly, and Sam for your super chats. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate everybody in here hanging out with us as well. You guys are awesome. I'm glad you guys are a part of the Miller's Edge team. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you like what you're seeing for more content. I'm Christian Miller. My dad, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure you tune in Thursday. We will be live for sure for the Miller's Edge Extra. Might even hop on here on a Tuesday. We'll see. So make sure you guys are subscribed with that notification bell so you don't miss it. This has been another fun Miller's Edge post-game show with Christian and Corey Miller. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for your service.